In the heart of southeastern Massachusetts, there's a 200 square mile patch of land known as the Bridgewater Triangle. But what makes this place one of the most mysterious spots on Earth? Why are there so many reports of everything from Bigfoot and giant birds to ghosts and UFOs, all packed into this one small region? Unlike other paranormal hotspots hidden away in the wilderness, this triangle cuts right through modern cities and towns, making its strangeness impossible to ignore. It's a place where the veil between worlds feels unusually thin, where centuries of violent history, strange theories, and chilling eyewitness accounts all seem to collide. This is a deep dive into that paranormal hotspot, exploring the legends and terrifying encounters that make the Bridgewater Triangle so infamous. We'll look at the historical wounds that some say never healed, the creatures that reportedly stalk the swamps, the ghosts that haunt its roads, and the strange lights that dance in its skies. Before we head into the triangle, if you're fascinated by the world's greatest mysteries, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next. To get a handle on the Bridgewater Triangle, you first have to understand its bloody and tragic past. The story of this land's alleged curse began long before anyone called it the Bridgewater Triangle. The points of this paranormal pocket are roughly marked by the towns of Abington, Rehoboth, and Freetown. And at its heart is the massive Hockomock swamp. To the native Wampanoag people, this was sacred ground. They called the swamp Hockamock, which translates to the place where spirits dwell. But this spiritual reverence was shattered in the 17th century with the arrival of English colonists. Tensions over land and culture exploded into one of the most brutal conflicts in American history, King Philip's War from 1675 to 1676, led by the Wampanoag Sachem Metacomet, whom the English called King Philip. The native tribes launched a desperate rebellion. The war was devastating. Per capita, it was the bloodiest war in American history. Some estimates suggest that nearly 80% of the native population and a quarter of the colonial population were killed. The violence left a deep scar on the land itself. The Hockomock swamp became both a fortress and a battlefield. It's from this conflict that the main curse theory comes from. One legend claims that in the war's final days, native leaders cursed the land in response to the atrocities committed against their people. Another story ties the curse to a sacred Wampanoag wampum belt that was stolen and lost. The legend says the paranormal unrest won't stop until the belt is returned. Whether you believe in curses or not, the sheer amount of death and suffering that happened here is a historical fact. Many paranormal researchers believe this violent energy has stained the land, attracting strange phenomena for centuries. This theory is sometimes paired with a geological one. Some speculate that the Bridgewater Triangle has high concentrations of quartz deposits, a mineral that paranormal enthusiasts believe can store and release energy, potentially creating the right conditions for strange events. This combination of historical trauma and speculative geology sets the stage for everything that follows. Ground zero for all this weirdness is the Hockomock swamp. At nearly 17,000 acres, it's the largest freshwater swamp in Massachusetts, a sprawling murky wetland that has largely resisted modern development. The early Puritan settlers, unnerved by the swamp and the native legends, called it the Devil's Swamp. For centuries, it has been the source of the region's most baffling and terrifying reports. One of the most common things people see in the swamp are mysterious lights and orbs. And it's not just swamp gas. Witnesses, including police officers, have described them as intelligent balls of light that appear after sunset, hovering over the water and darting through the trees before just winking out. Some think these lights are the spirits of those who died in King Philip's War, while others believe they're UFOs. These lights are often accompanied by phantom sounds, whispers, and the distant rhythmic beat of drums, as if a war from centuries ago is still echoing through the trees. But it isn't just lights and sounds. In March of 1971, a Norton police sergeant named Thomas Downey was driving along the edge of the swamp when he witnessed something incredible. He reported seeing a gigantic bird with an 8 to 12 foot wingspan lift off from the side of the road and fly away. When he went to investigate, he found large, three-toed tracks in the ground where the creature had been standing. It remains one of the most famous Thunderbird sightings ever recorded. Just a year earlier, in 1970, another police officer had an even stranger encounter. An officer from Easton was parked in his cruiser when an unseen force suddenly lifted the back of his car several feet into the air and then dropped it with a crash. Looking out, he saw a large, hairy, ape-like figure running into the woods toward the swamp. The Hockomock swamp is more than just a place. It feels ancient and alive, and visitors often report an overwhelming feeling of being watched. It truly lives up to its Wampanoag name, the place where spirits dwell. While most paranormal hotspots are known for one specific creature, the Bridgewater Triangle is like a zoo for cryptids. Reports of monstrous, unclassified animals are so common they've become a defining feature of the area. The most famous of these is, without a doubt, Bigfoot. Sightings of a large, hairy, ape-like creature in this part of Massachusetts go back decades. A well-known series of encounters happened in 1970 when several Bridgewater residents reported seeing a 7-foot-tall, hairy creature moving through their backyards. Police were called multiple times, and while they initially suspected a bear, they never found one, nor could they explain the creature's appearance. Then there are the Thunderbirds. Sergeant Thomas Downey's 1971 sighting is the most famous, but it's far from the only one. Witnesses consistently describe creatures of prehistoric size, with wingspans estimated at 8 to 12 feet. The persistence of these sightings, sometimes with reports of large tracks, makes you wonder if it's more than just misidentification. Perhaps the most unique and unsettling of the Triangle's cryptids are the Pukwudgies. These creatures come directly from Wampanoag folklore, and people still claim to see them today, especially in the Freetown Fall River State Forest. Described as small, 3-foot-tall, goblin-like humanoids, Pukwudgies are not friendly nature sprites. In tribal lore, they are dangerous tricksters. They're said to have magical powers, like vanishing at will or luring people deep into the woods to their doom. They are sometimes seen watching hikers from a distance only to disappear when noticed. On top of all that, there are historical accounts of giant snakes and sightings of phantom black panthers with glowing red eyes. The sheer variety of paranormal creatures in the Bridgewater Triangle is staggering, painting a picture of a landscape where the normal rules of nature don't seem to apply. The strangeness of the Bridgewater Triangle isn't just out in the swamps, it also clings to places scarred by human tragedy and violence. The region is home to some of the most intensely haunted locations in New England. Nowhere is this darkness more concentrated than in the Freetown Fall River State Forest. On the surface, it's a state park, but it has a deeply sinister reputation. Starting in the late 1970s, the forest became known as a site for satanic cult activity. Investigations into what the media dubbed the Fall River cult killings uncovered evidence of ritualistic animal sacrifice deep within the woods, though rumours of human sacrifice were never confirmed by authorities. The forest has also been a dumping ground for murder victims and the site of numerous suicides, layering tragedy upon tragedy. This grim history has turned the forest into a hotbed of paranormal activity. Visitors report ghostly apparitions, shadow people, and aggressive poltergeist activity. One of the forest's most famous haunted spots was Profile Rock, a granite outcropping that resembled the face of a Native American chief. For generations, people reported seeing a ghost sitting on the rock at sunset. Tragically, the rock formation was vandalized and later collapsed in 2019, but people still report eerie feelings and strange sightings at the site where it once stood. The hauntings also spill out onto the roads. The most famous is the ghost of the red-haired hitchhiker of Route 44. For decades, drivers on a lonely stretch of this road have reported seeing a man in a flannel shirt with a bushy red beard thumbing for a ride. According to the legend, if you pick him up, he gets into the back seat and starts to laugh maniacally before vanishing from the moving car. Another site of intense paranormal activity is the former Taunton State Hospital, an asylum for the criminally insane with a dark history of patient abuse and suffering. Long before it was abandoned, staff reported phantom hands pulling at their clothes. Since its closure, urban explorers who venture inside have reported being touched, pushed, and hearing disembodied voices, suggesting the tormented spirits of those who suffered there remain. As if the cryptids and ghosts weren't enough, the skies above the Bridgewater Triangle are just as active as the ground below. The region has been a hotspot for UFO sightings for decades, with reports ranging from strange lights to close encounters with actual craft. The modern era of UFO sightings in the Triangle really kicked off in the 1970s. Cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman, who coined the term Bridgewater Triangle, documented many of these events. Witnesses have described a wide array of phenomena. There are frequent reports of bright, silent orbs of light that perform impossible maneuvers over the Hockomock swamp, hovering, shooting off at incredible speeds and changing direction instantly. Beyond lights, there have also been sightings of structured craft. People have reported seeing classic flying saucers, triangular ships, and large, silent black helicopters that seem to patrol the area. One compelling report from 1978 involved a man who claimed he watched a glowing object land in a field. He felt an overwhelming urge to approach it and felt as if he was being watched by an unseen intelligence before the object silently lifted off and vanished. What makes the UFO phenomenon here so interesting is that accounts of strange aerial lights over the swamps date back to the 18th and 19th centuries, long before airplanes could explain them away. Many researchers believe the UFO activity is connected to the other paranormal phenomena, especially since the sightings are so often concentrated over the Hockomock swamp. This has led to speculation that the triangle might be some kind of portal or window area where different dimensions or realities intersect. Beyond the neat categories of ghosts, cryptids and UFOs, the Bridgewater Triangle is home to events that can only be described as high strangeness. These are the truly bizarre incidents that defy easy classification. We've already mentioned the incredible 1970 incident where a police car was lifted and dropped by an unseen force right before a Bigfoot sighting. That event perfectly captures high strangeness, blending powerful poltergeist-like activity with a cryptid encounter. Another disturbing phenomenon is animal mutilation. This goes beyond the ritual sacrifices attributed to cults in the Freetown State Forest. For years, farmers have found livestock, particularly cattle, that have been grotesquely mutilated. In 1998, a particularly gruesome case involved calves found killed and dissected in a way that seemed beyond the work of natural predators. These incidents mirror cases often associated with UFO phenomena in other parts of the country, though some still suspect a link to local cults. And then there are the disappearances. The Triangle has a sinister reputation woven into its folklore, from Wampanoag legends of Pukwudgies abducting people to modern theories of alien abduction. The vast, disorienting wilderness of the Hockomock swamp and Freetown State Forest has certainly claimed victims over the years, but many wonder if more supernatural forces are sometimes at play. Hikers have reported that trails seem to shift and landmarks disappear, as if the woods themselves are actively trying to get them lost. These incidents of high strangeness are a chilling reminder that the forces at play here may be far more complex than we can imagine. From the blood-soaked soil of an ancient war to the murky waters of the Hockomock swamp, from giant birds in the sky to goblin-like creatures in the forest, from ghostly hitchhikers to silent glowing orbs that defy physics. The Bridgewater Triangle is one of the most densely packed paranormal areas on the planet. For decades, researchers, eyewitnesses, and even police officers have documented an incredible variety of unexplained phenomena within this 200 square mile patch of Massachusetts. The sheer concentration of activity is what makes this place so unsettling. It's not just one ghost story or one cryptid legend, it's an overlapping web of high strangeness that spans centuries. So what is the truth behind the Bridgewater Triangle? Is it a land cursed by its violent past? Is it a geological anomaly amplifying unseen energies? Or could it be something even stranger, a portal to another dimension, a window into a reality where all of these things are possible? To this day, the reports continue to come in. The lights are still seen in the sky, strange creatures are still glimpsed in the woods, and the ghosts of the past still linger, holding their secrets close,